So today we are here to discuss Voices in My Head, which
the board game,
not the ones I actually have in my head, which that would be very long,
a much longer video.
So. Yes. Yeah. So, but before we get into discussing the Voices in My Head board game, let's hit that subscribe button and the notification bell over there because you don't want to miss any future discussion of all the voices in our heads.
That's right.
All right, so Rob, tell us about this game, please.
All right, so this is a 2022 release. The rank is 8,275 on Board Game Geek. The rating is 6.6. Designed by Corey Konieczka. Art by David Ardilla and George Dutsopoulos. Sorry, dude, or George. MSRP is $39.99. Card House had it a little bit cheaper at $31.99. Geek Market had it for $30 to $35.
Okay. So this was a Gen Con pickup for us, and Corey Konieczka is obviously creator of Battlestar Galactica, which is one of my all-time favorite games. So anytime I see his name on something, I'm going to investigate it at minimum.
Obligatory eye roll.
I just didn't know they allowed pickups at Gen Con. That sounds
well, no, it's
like
not.
some Nevada Bowl.
Well, there's a lot of pickups at Gen Con, trust me. But yeah, this is not that kind of pickup. This was a purchase at Gen Con.
And he's too big for that kind of pickup.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Depends on who's
Everybody would swipe left.
That's true.
So
let's talk about quality components.
That's a great segue.
That was a very good segue.
Thank you. So one of the cool things is you get this like contraption you build in the middle.
I really like that.
Yeah, you've got the image of his head, and you've got his brain, which for some reason is actually
quite
behind
small.
his eye and very small. Which, given the discussion during the game, I can understand that. And then you've got these little offshoot buckets, if you will, with basically flat platforms where you push tokens onto, and they either stay on or fall off, and that determines who's going to have the influence in that area. Which is really a neat little concept for basically a hidden role game.
Yeah.
You know, it's not what you would expect. But the device here is really cool. And, then you've got, the board is got kind of a linen finish to it, which is nice.
Yeah, you got your influence tokens, which is pretty standard cardboard.
The cards, though, do not have a linen finish. They're just smooth cards. They're typical cards, not cardstock, nothing special.
The cheat sheets are really good, though.
Yeah,
they were very helpful.
Look like little brains.
Yep.
Actually, the brain is bigger than his brain. But yeah, I like the way everything looks, but that's more theme. As far as the component quality, it's nothing outstanding. The tokens,
other than the board, the board is great.
The board is great. I'll give it a 7, I think, because of the board being so cool, and the cardboard does have a linen finish. I just wish the cards had been a little nicer.
I think I'm a 7.5. I think the board is really cool. The way it's set up is really cool. I really like it, and it really adds to the theme too. So we'll talk about that more, but it's really thematic and it's functional. So I like it.
What do you think?
Do we talk about art during the quality or during the theme?
Theme.
Just
okay, the theme.
So.
I think it was fine. I didn't find anything distracting about the quality. So, what did you say?
I said 7.5.
Sure, 7.5.
All right. Okay. So, talking about the theme, so it is a courtroom setting, as we mentioned, and you are inside the head of the person who.
Well, they are. I wasn't.
Well, yes, one person plays the prosecutor. And, everyone can either win or lose independently.
Right. There's
not teams on this per se, but you can cooperate with one another to try to get things accomplished. And even the prosecutor is kind of the DM of the game, is still trying to win the game. They're not, their goal is to get him arrested. It's a fun little courtroom theme. I think the brain aspect and the moving the tokens around and influencing different parts of the brain is very thematic. It's really cool. And you're an attribute in the game. Like I was doubt and Miranda was honesty. So you're parts of his personality, and you're kind of basically guiding the things that happen in the courtroom from the defendant's perspective, which is really cool. I think it's a unique and very fun theme. And I like the art of the cartoony art on the cards. There's a lot of humor in the different trial cards that come out. So thematically, I think I'm going to give it a 9.
I was going to think the same thing. I thought that I loved playing as the prosecutor thematically. I got to read it and got to role play a little bit in it, and it was just a ton of fun. Yeah. And so I'm straight up 9. I loved it.
And it not just yours, but the role play of the people doing their cards, trying to get their goals accomplished was hilarious, because it's like really some people are like answering things in the most unobvious ways. So yeah, I loved it. What did you think, Heather?
This is where I did find a distraction. The artwork on the board is just so much more detailed than the artwork on these chips. The even more cartoony look of the tokens. Yeah, I didn't like that, but I don't think that that's a big detractor. So I'm gonna go 8.5.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about the rule book. So the rule book is 16 pages long, and it's got a nice cover, matches the box. You've got your component list.
Good size font.
Good size font. It looks like a legal thing. It's very thematic. It looks like a binder with the little tokens, the latches in the middle. Your setup shows you pictures of how to put everything together. It's very clear. There's no confusion. It shows you specifically how you're supposed to deploy the control markers using the tokens and the device, and they got pictures step by step through. I really like the way all the images in here work with the rules. I think they did an excellent job on that. And I like the fact that there's a lot of variability in the rules. They give you like a bunch of different ways to play. They give you some strategy advice. They have a 3-player option on this. I'm not sure this would work as well as with fewer players. I think the player count, the higher player count,
I think so too. But I mean, if they have a specific variant for 3-player, it might be okay.
Yeah. Like I said, there's optional rules for doing advanced roles. They have lots of additional roles we didn't play with because we played with the basic roles that are
just to learn
based upon the player count. And there's ones you can add in that basically give you more variety, which I love that.
I'm looking forward to playing it again with the more variety.
Yeah, and it's got a quick reference to the iconography on the back. I think that's very helpful. We didn't actually need it though.
No, because their cheat sheets
straightforward. The cheat sheets are really helpful. There's the front of them has all the rules you need for the basic game, and then on the back they've got the iconography for the advanced game on there. So you didn't have to flip it over during the basic game at all. So I thought those were great cheat sheets.
I agree.
I'm going to go ahead and probably give the rule book probably a 9. I think it did an excellent job with the cheat sheets combined. It was super.
Yeah, and it's a good rule book if we don't have to reference it very often.
No, we didn't at all.
So that's always a great sign to the rule book.
All right, so moving on to gameplay. So beginning of the game, everybody's going to get a role passed out to them, and one of those roles is the prosecutor. So whoever gets the prosecutor, they reveal that they are the
right
prosecutor.
Up front. Now everybody else keeps theirs hidden.
Yeah. So the prosecutor gets a screen that they hide everything behind, and they get the deck of cards that basically is the story of the game. So there's one deck of cards that has just actually 4 cards, really, that is the general crime that's being committed and the theme of that story.
Yeah, so behind your screen you have your deck, and then you have a card to the left and a card to the right, and the card face up. So I get to pick as a prosecutor which one. And so as Randy will talk about, it's got different icons on the front, and I have to choose which one of those. So I have to pay close attention to what everybody else is doing.
And he's only allowed to look at the front of the card. He can't flip it over and look at the back. But there's also a deck of 4 story cards at the very beginning of the game.
Right. I just random selected one.
And it determines who the first player is, and also has the general gist of the crime that you're facing.
So we, in this case, Guy is the name of the defendant. He robbed a bank.
Yeah. And we are trying to be, as Guy, as the parts of Guy, we're trying to accomplish our goals, which is in most cases, or some cases anyway, to try to get him out of being arrested.
Right.
Some people felt guilty for their crime and wanted to be arrested.
Yeah, so Alan got the
justice.
Alan got the justice role, so he felt convicted and needed to go to jail. So his goal was to have more guilty than innocent.
Yeah, and my goal was just to cause enough confusion that the jury was undecided. And so, the fact that there was less conviction tokens out there meant I actually won the game, even though he actually did go to jail because he had 2 against him.
Right.
So you won the game as well as prosecutor.
I did, because all I needed was to have more guilty than innocent.
Mm-hmm.
I did that.
So, yeah, I like the fact that you can win no matter what the outcome of the crime is, but potentially. That's really cool aspect of this game.
Mm-hmm.
But basically on the turns, you're just basically taking a token, putting it on the board, and using this little pusher. You don't flick, you push it directly into an area, and whatever falls off is going to change the outcome of who's got influence in that region. So this token would go back to Heather, and we would.
And it's out of the game.
Yeah,
she can't use that unless she plays a special card or something that allows her to be able to get them out of her discard pile and put back into play.
So I pushed that in the wrong way. I put it upside down, so it was a 3. Yeah, you normally have to have them all face up. So there's a 3 now for, this was Miranda's side. And then we had Caleb's had the green, so 3 and 3, and then 2 and 1. So right now it's a tie between Caleb and Miranda. So when Caleb came around, he would probably want to break that tie. So he would push another one of his tokens through to try to knock off Miranda's. Well, Miranda's probably not going to fall, but this was Alan's yellow token. So he might successfully knock Alan's off, but I'd add another point of influence for him.
But if there is a tie.
But if there's a tie, whoever has the first player token gets to decide who breaks the tie.
And that can make a difference, because it might be like Miranda, who we all thought was just crazy. Yeah. We didn't. She was playing her role well, but we didn't know that. Yes. So we just thought she was making. I loved it because she was making decisions that helped me out a lot.
Yeah.
But everybody was like, oh, you're a traitor and all that. So they would try to keep making sure she didn't have influence.
Yes.
Because they think she would make the wrong decision.
Well, the very first time around, it was like, oh, she just walked into the room and she doesn't know what she's doing. It was obvious from then on.
Yeah, she knew what she was doing. It was not an act.
Yeah, it was great.
I think I would. I really enjoyed this game, but I think I would enjoy it a whole lot more with the advanced.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that kind of made it lag a little bit was there was if you didn't win the influence and there were only 2 categories that were being done each round,
right?
You just kind of got to sit around for a while, and I didn't like that. But everything else, I really did enjoy.
Yeah, there was a lot of time where I couldn't influence anything because my tokens kept getting knocked off,
right?
And that was a little frustrating. I can understand at that point. But I was enjoying all of the conversation that was happening. So I didn't feel like it was boring. I just felt like I didn't get to make decisions that impacted it.
With the advanced, every influence token has a different ability depending on what you do with it and where you put it. I just felt like there would have been more things happening.
Yeah, because the tokens only have, like in the basic game, only have values from 1 to 3. So you're not really going to be influencing it with with ones, which is you got majority of as ones. So when you add in these icons, it's going to make those lesser value ones actually have more significance, which I think will increase the fun of this game. I agree fully. And then your tokens, as the prosecutor, he can actually play a token too and do the same thing. But
all I was doing was just trying to affect influence. Maybe knock off someone, maybe get someone else.
But there are icons even on your influence token.
Yeah. So other than me just trying to push people's tokens around and hopefully get someone to make a decision that I agreed with or it helped my cause, my tokens didn't go through a whole lot. So I'd be really interested as the prosecutor to see how much influence my tokens would make from that point forward.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give an initial score for this and then play it with that advanced because I think it's going to make the game even better. And I enjoyed this a lot.
I did too.
I mean, I don't think it's the right game for everybody. I can tell you that right now. If you do not like hidden roll games, and I'm not talking about Trader. There's really
just straight up hidden roll.
But if you don't like hidden roll and not knowing what other players have, and if you don't like games where you might be not really doing actively anything for a while,
or if you can't approach a game with a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
If you don't have that brevity, you won't like this game at all.
If you're looking for a strategy game, that's not what this is.
It.
This is an entertaining game of, basically choose your own adventure type game that you're making decisions that are going to hopefully drive towards your score passively. I mean, I could have won or lost and wouldn't have known, and I wouldn't really care in this game.
If you've ever been to one of Randy's murder mysteries,
I'm sure the whole audience out there.
Let me finish my statement. If you've ever been to one of Randy's murder mysteries and about 3.5 hours in, you were like, oh my God, I'm tired. I don't think I can do this anymore. This is the perfect game for you. Because it just didn't last that long. I felt like it had a sweet spot for how long it took. I actually said at one point during the game, I was like, we need to play this again immediately because now we know what we're doing. I feel like it'll go a lot faster. Nobody else thought that was a good idea, surprisingly. But are we giving numerals?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
What's your score overall?
I really like this game. I'm going to go 8.887.
8.87?
8.887.
Oh, 887.
Mm-hmm.
There's some significance to that number.
It's a number.
Okay. I'm a 9. Thematically, mechanically, I love the game. I think it'll be even better when we add in the abilities of the influence tokens. So I think it could be even a 9.5.
Yeah,
so I really enjoyed it. Highly recommend it.
I'm actually a little lower, which is surprising because this is my kind of game usually, but I don't think it's quite a 9 yet. I think it will go up to a 9 potentially once you add in those rules. I'm going to give it 1 point for every year that I think he got for armed robbery. I'm giving it an 8.
Not an 8.67
no, it's for his year.
or
They wouldn't
6.63.
sentence into 8.6742 or 8.675329.
He got 13 days off for good behavior.
He got
Did
8
we actually
years.
know it was 8 years at the end?
8,
No.
8 is my score.
Oh, you're just making that.
Yeah.
So.
So, I mean, it was,
Yeah.
I think it was a blast. I think it's going to be even more fun when we play it with the other rules. I think this is actually a game I'll get Alex to be able to play because he loves Ace Attorney. And that's what this reminded me of.
Yeah, and with that sense of humor, too.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think it's had a better sense of humor.
I
than
agree.
Ace Attorney. Ace Attorney is almost an inadvertent humor in many cases.
right, because of the translation.
Yeah, the translation or just the sheer dumb decisions people make.
Right. This is great.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I do think that it might get stale over time, though.
I really think that this might be one of those games where you would just have a ton of fun, play it 6-7 times, and then be the perfect game to hand off to someone and let them play it.
Well, I'm hopeful they'll add like an
Expansions
expansion where they add more cards because I think that's the biggest thing is if you don't get more story cards and decision cards, it's going to get stale. But if you do get some more in there, I think you can keep this fresh for a long time. So.
Well, it's also a great a great game for people who are not deep into wargaming.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think this would be a good party.
More of a social.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's definitely one I'm glad I have in my collection just because it is so unique. It's not something.
Yeah.
we've
This
never
is
played
very
anything
different.
quite like this.
I think we did one of our top 10 lists about most unique themes. I think this one now is up in that list, even though it, we've got to redo that list if we do it. But I think this one belongs up at the top.
I'm surprised how much I liked it.
So, all right, that's our opinion of Voices in My Head. Again, the game, not my actual voices. So, but if you have any thoughts, you got to try this out. Put them down below. We'd love to read about them.
Or if you want to know more about the voices in Randy's head.
No, you don't.
No, you really don't.
No,
I promise you don't.
You did. It'd be great.
No.
So, all right. So until next time, all the voices in my head say goodbye.
Mine says bye.
The one voice in my head said, catch you on the flip side.
No, the voice from Heather would definitely say something a lot more obscene.
Vulgar. Yeah.
All right. Till next time. Bye.
Bye.